Earlier today, human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito.
Welcome to the Reporter Room, where we seek truth and justice. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. Today we're going to talk about the missing case of 22-year-old Gabby Petito and the disappearance of her fiancé, 23-year-old Brian Laundrie. If you like news, missing person cases, or true crime videos, please subscribe. Let's get into it. There isn't a cookie-cutter type of controlling person, but they do have some common characteristics that should raise red flags. At the end of this video, I will share with you whether I believe Brian's behavior was controlling behavior or simply an annoying trait, so please stay with me until the end. For those of you not familiar with this case, here is a brief synopsis. Gabby was traveling across the country with Brian in her white van. She was last seen in late August and was reported missing on September 11th after Brian returned home to Northport, Florida, driving her van and with her cell phone, but without her. To be clear, Brian returned to Northport on September 1st, but never contacted her parents or reported her missing. In fact, Gabby was not reported missing until September 11th. The pair were taking a cross-country road trip from Long Island, New York, where Gabby's parents live. The couple had been documenting their journey on social media while living the van life. No one had seen Gabby since August 24th. There were some text messages supposedly from her, but Brian had her phone, so we know he could have sent those himself. Remains believing to belong to Gabby were found by authorities on Sunday. They conducted a search around the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in the Bridger-Teton National Forest. An autopsy of the remains will be conducted this week to confirm whether or not this is Gabby. Controlling personalities often minimize or deny the seriousness of violence and its effect on the victim. Consider how dismissive Brian was to Moab Police about the altercation he had with Gabby on August 12th. Brian took Gabby's car keys, climbed into Gabby's van, and locked her out. To be clear, this van was her home, not just a vehicle. When Gabby was trying to climb into the driver's side window because the doors, according to her, were locked, a witness says that he saw Brian pushing Gabby's face. Why didn't Brian give her her car keys, get out of the van, and de-escalate the situation? Brian claimed to police that he wanted to calm things down. If he was sincere about calming things down, he could have easily given her the keys, let her know he needed to take some time to calm down, and gone for a little walk. As for the scratches on Brian's face, Gabby could have scratched him. However, these also could have been the result of her jewelry as she tried to get into the van through the driver's window while Brian was trying to drive away. It's worth noting that Brian never claimed to police that she scratched him on purpose. Please take a moment to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you find this information helpful. Controlling people tend to objectify their victims and often see them as their property. Does that make sense? I don't have enough information to know how Brian viewed Gabby. However, the behavior panel did an analysis of the August 12th Moab Police BodyCam footage, and they pointed out that Brian diminished Gabby's blog by calling it a, quote, little blog. I will link this video for you in the description below. It's very interesting. Brian also blamed Gabby entirely for their altercation. I didn't hear Brian take any personal responsibility. Did you? Controlling people typically have low self-esteem and feel powerless in the world. Was Brian jealous that Gabby was receiving so much attention on social media? Gabby's friend, Rose Davies, spoke with the Daily Mail, and Rose described Brian as controlling and manipulative. In one incident, Rose reports that Brian stole Gabby's driver's license so she wouldn't be able to go out to a nightclub or bar with her. Gabby described Brian's strange behavior to Rose, which at times forced Gabby to sleep at Rose's house. Rose said, quote, "He got these jealousy issues, and he struggles from what Gabby calls these episodes where he would hear things and hear voices and wouldn't sleep." I will link this article for you by the Daily Mail in the description below. Controlling people often externalize the behavior. And what I mean by this is that they blame their behavior on things like stress, their partner's bad day, alcohol, or other things. In this case, during the Moab August 12th police stop, we see Brian blaming the physical altercation entirely on camping and Gabby. Did you hear him take any responsibility? Controlling people can appear charming, charismatic, and have a pleasant affect to people outside of the relationship. While Gabby was visibly upset and crying when the Moab police pulled them over, Brian appeared calm, charming, even pleasant. There was a clear disconnect in what was going on with his erratic driving and his flat affect. Police are currently searching for Brian after his family members claim to law enforcement that they haven't seen him in days. They say Brian was last seen on Tuesday. My question is, why did Brian's family wait multiple days to report him missing? They live in a regular-sized house, so didn't they notice he was gone sooner? Did they wait to give Brian time to get away? Do you think Brian is hiding or missing? Brian has been officially named a person of interest, and on Friday, the FBI searched Brian's parents' home along with a silver Mustang that was parked out front. Brian had been refusing to speak with authorities on what happened to Gabby, and now we probably know why. Brian was hiding the truth from law enforcement. Here is my opinion on whether I believe Brian is controlling. In my opinion, Brian exhibits signs and characteristics of being controlling. He locked Gabby out of her own van. He hid her driver's license so she couldn't go out with friends. He took no responsibility for the August 12th altercation. Most importantly, he returned from Wyoming without Gabby and did not have the decency to report her missing to either the authorities or even her parents. It's unknown if Brian played a role in her death, but it's not looking good for him in my opinion. If you liked this video and you found it to be helpful, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up.